Hello, gang. Welcome to an enchanting evening with Wick, your resident wizard, with my powers of persuasion and my powers of magic. Tonight, we're going to have a great show. It's a costume show. We got some guests. I have to help one of the guests get into the show. So while I help them, I'm going to pass the mic to Fairy Queen. Let Fairy Queen start us off, kind of be the hostess with the mostest. And yeah, we'll talk, we'll hang out, we'll have some fun. Fairy Queen, here's a mic, and let me help with Mooncake. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, folks, this is spontaneous. I've got to do some improv here, okay? I'm not sure if should I pantomime, should I do a game? Honestly, if it was my stream, this would be the part where I take out the Jackbox games and we would be playing some games. But I'm not sure, okay, if I have the authority invested in me to be able to appropriately do that. So instead, I'll do this instead. I'm going to speak to the Twitch stream. Hello, how are you? Why are you here with us this evening? Happy Halloween. Are there monsters in your closet? What kind of monsters are they? Were you lame and didn't dream of monsters at all growing up? Did you watch rated R films? Probably not. Otherwise, why would you be here? Okay. Let's see here. Help them, Wick. Connect.
We figured it out, okay, with my powers,
Hey.
my magical powers. Mooncake, hello. God, here we go.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to the
Nice.
stream.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. We got a lot to go over tonight. We got some great
Hi, Fairy
costumes.
Queen. Hi,
And
Julie.
we are going to
Hi.
start this show by introducing everyone, allowing them to show off their costumes a little bit, and we'll get into it. I'll start with me first, okay? My stream. I, Wick, your host, am a wizard. I will be leading the charge, casting a spell upon my audience, casting a spell upon my guests here, and we will be talking about all sorts of things. I got some questions. I got some prompts for conversation, and we'll get to it. But that's me. Mooncake, why don't you go next?
Okay, so
ahead.
I'm Mooncake. I mainly work on Legos. I actually just broke apart this Lego piece. I was putting it back together. And yeah, I play video games. TFT mainly. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got for you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's everything.
TFT mainly. We're gonna forgive the league because it is TFT, right? But thanks
TFT is
for
cool.
being here, and we'll get into it. Next up, we have Sad Kit Kat. Julie, go ahead. Who are you? What do you do? Oh man, I can't hear a word you're saying.
Is it not working? Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
there you go.
Is it working? Okay, my bad. I'm Julie. I am getting my bachelor. What am I saying? I'm introducing myself. What am I doing?
Yeah, who are you? Like, tell us
I'm-
about yourself. What's your costume here? It looks like you're gonna forgive us
a
of our
nun.
sins, or I don't know.
I'm a nun. Yeah. No. I'm getting my bachelor's degree in accounting, and then I just like stream and for fun. I play League as well. I'm not good at Teamfight.
Can I just say I have my bachelor's in accounting?
Really?
That's funny. I do.
You both have bachelor's in
crazy.
accounting. You both play League. Okay, this is just weird. Okay, are you both Canadian?
Are you Canadian?
Yeah, I'm Canadian.
I'm Canadian.
Oh, gosh.
What's going on?
Oh, my gosh.
I'm
Wick is
scared.
gonna have
I'm
to.
scared to go further. I don't know.
That is weird. That is weird. That is so weird.
Wait, I need a minute. Hold on.
That is hilarious.
Wait,
Are
can I
you
ask where in
Canadian?
Canada?
Yeah. We both kind of like looked at each other like,
No way.
are you?
Okay,
That's hilarious.
that's
So
yeah,
funny.
that's a
They're
little
all
weird.
Canadians.
Here
Oh
we
wait,
go.
I know Tessie's here.
Hi. And next, last but certainly not least, Fairy Queen. Who are you? And what are you?
Who am I? I am Fairy Queen. And what am I? I am literally the Fairy Queen tonight. True to the name, so had to dress up.
Hey, that's good actually.
Yeah.
You know what? It works out.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, can I say what I am? I'm a maid. I know you can't see the entire costume. I'm not gonna like completely stand up, because it's a little risque, you know.
Are we gonna get in trouble on Twitch?
Yeah, I don't want to get banned again.
Yeah, that would be bad. Oh man. I guess. Well, First question: what are you guys doing for Halloween after this? Right, we aren't going to go too long tonight, but I'm just curious what your guys' plans are.
There's a place near me that does karaoke, so I might go to that.
What's your karaoke song of choice? Okay, you're going to
I-
karaoke. What do you sing?
Well, so this karaoke place is like a big stage, like in front of the whole bar. It's not like private,
Oh,
so I don't sing. If I get up on stage to sing karaoke in front of people, I'm so drunk you need to take me home. Okay.
Wait, so what? You're gonna go? No. See, karaoke, you gotta sing if you go. Okay, that's the rule.
No.
True.
I
That's
just
true.
enjoy the vibes. I enjoy the vibes. I don't sing. I enjoy the vibes.
Sorry.
Last time I went, some guy did screamo. It was chef's kiss.
Primo. Okay. I mean, look,
Doing some heavy metal. It was
different
awesome.
things for different strokes for different folks. I don't know. Like, maybe it's weird of me, but if I go to something, whether it be karaoke or anything where you can participate, I have to participate. Otherwise, why go?
I'm not a participator. I will sit back and watch. I'm not a participator.
So we couldn't get you to karaoke for us tonight? Like, give us a little preview? Or
Oh
anything?
God.
Let me have a couple more drinks. We'll
I
see.
have a couple more things, so we'll see. What about you, Mooncake? What do you got? What's the big plans?
Well, my sister started streaming. I told you about that. So we're gonna like stream together tonight and play like I think Fall Guys. And like just TFT. I'm gonna try to get her into the TFT realm. At some point, everybody's gonna start playing. I just know it's gonna happen.
I don't know.
League of Legends.
I know. I don't. You know what? I like you, Mooncake, but we got to talk about the league stuff. It's a lot, and the Canadian stuff is just too much. I don't know. I don't know what we can do about this.
You know what? There's so many Canadians. Have you noticed that? Like online. Like,
I've noticed.
I've ran into so many Canadians. It's actually kind of shocking.
Man, look, if you don't like our costume, show us a better costume. Come on up.
Yeah, show us
Are
better
people
costume.
talking shit about our costumes?
Yes,
They
they're
are.
talking shit about our costumes. What are you doing?
I give these.
We got maid girl, we got nun girl, we got fairy
Oh,
girl,
no.
we got wizard girl. Okay, we are all here. We're all here, casting spells, doing shit. Okay, fairy queen. What's on tap for you? What do you got coming up?
Yeah.
To be honest, this is all I've got for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really have a whole lot of plans beyond this, but I am happy to be here. And while I am here, I'm going to entertain you as best I can in my expensive, very tasteful and stylish costume. Thank you very much.
I'm very stylish.
Well, okay. I guess to start us off with the night, okay, ladies, I do have a series kind of prompts to talk about. I don't know what you guys are into. I don't know what you guys want to talk about. So if something doesn't catch your fancy, don't worry. We got a lot. Or if there's something that you're like, you know what? I've been thinking about this. This has been on my mind a while, and I want to talk about it. Feel free to bring it up. It's very relaxed tonight. It's my community gave me a bunch of money to put on a costume stream, so here we are. I've already made my money tonight, so I'm good. I guess the first thing that I want to talk about, okay, and this is a little political, so forgive me. Are you Canadians, since you're both here, are you worried about the American election coming up at all? What are your thoughts?
I'm extremely worried.
Do you not care at all? Like, what's the vibe? Okay, so you're
No,
extremely worried. What about the other one? What about the nun?
I'm worried, but Canada's already such a dumpster fire right now that I can't, I have too much to worry about anyways. You know what I'm saying? It's like on the bottom of the list of worries.
Well, you say Canada's a dumpster fire. Explain to my audience, many of which aren't Canadians. Why is it a dumpster fire?
Everything's too expensive. We have free healthcare, but we don't have access to it. We don't have access to housing. It's just everything's Doritos. I bought a bag of Doritos today, $7. Why is a bag of Doritos $7? Explain that to me. That's not right. This is a dumpster fire.
What kind of Doritos are you buying? Like what flavor?
Regular Doritos. That's what I'm saying.
Do you mean Cool Ranch?
No, normal Doritos. Something's wrong with Canada, bro. It's too expensive to live here.
Doritos have flavors. What flavor of Doritos did you buy?
Regular schmegular, the Dorito flavor.
There is no
what
regular
Doritos is.
flavor Dorito. There's no regular flavor Dorito.
The original Dorito, just a Dorito.
Yeah, she's right. There is
The orange
original.
kind.
I'm
the
always
orange
right.
Nacho? Nacho? That's why thank you for the gift subs. Thank you for the guy.
Is it nacho? I don't know. It's a Dorito, okay? No specialty, just a Dorito.
There's different kinds of Doritos.
There's
I
Cool
don't know
Ranch. I
what's
like the
going
Cool
on
Ranch
here.
ones.
No specialty.
good.
Cool Ranch is really good, but they don't have enough
Those
flavor
are
on the
so
Cool
good.
Ranch. You know what's really good? My favorite is Sweet Chili Heat. Sweet Chili Heat
Oh.
Doritos. Those are so. They don't have them in America. They're so good.
Yes, they do.
You guys have Sweet Chili Heat? I couldn't find them anywhere.
I got them. What part of America are you in?
Wait, is Sweet Chili Heat like it's got the black bag?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I thought you meant the purple one.
Yeah, there's
No,
purple.
the purple is barbecue.
Oh,
I know my Doritos.
A black
Honestly,
bag.
kind of love that actually.
Yeah, the Dorito black bag is Sweet Chili Heat, and it's so good.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I don't know if we have a black bag, which is
That's what I'm saying. I don't think you guys have Sweet Chili
racist,
Heat.
I'm not sure, right? But we have a purple bag, and the purple,
purple
bag's
bag-
really good.
The purple bag in Canada is barbecue Doritos.
Fair enough. In America, it is sweet chili something. I don't know what exactly it's called. Here,
I'm gonna
now I'm gonna
Google it.
look it up. What about you, Fairy
Oh,
Queen?
God.
Are you a Dorito person? What's the deal?
I'm the kind that likes the orange Dorito, and that is, aside from Cool Ranch, the only kind of Dorito I know of. So
Yeah,
You're like,
spicy,
my-
sweet chili Doritos are purple bag. There is a sweet chili heat black bag, certainly, but
Sweet
spicy
chili
sweet
heat-
chili is purple.
I'm pretty sure the barbecue
chili-
Doritos in Canada are purple.
No. The sweet chili heat are purple, and then the black ones are the spicy barbecue, right?
No, the black bag is the Sweet Chili Heat. I know this. I'm so confident.
I could be wrong. You know what?
I don't know.
This isn't my wheelhouse.
No,
But-
yeah, in Canada the purple is barbecue, the black is Sweet Chili Heat. I think it's
Okay.
flipped in the States.
That's crazy.
Maybe, I don't know. Look, Canadian
Starting
is
off with a
this
Dorito debate. is
bizarro world. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
No,
Go ahead.
I think we're kind of screwed. The reason I'm really worried is, God forbid, Trump actually wins. The rhetoric has already poured into Canada, and Pierre Poilievre is literally the worst thing that could happen to Canadians. He's a career politician. He's never worked a real job. He creates false stories and he pushes them. And I think the reason, because the Bank of Canada was able to get our inflation down. I think we're down to about like 3%, which isn't bad, right? And now everything's starting to settle. And what was happening in Canada is that we had a lot of foreign investors. So people were buying housing at like a crazy rate. And they were getting like 1% interest rates. So eventually the Bank of Canada was like, oh, people can't actually afford this. We need to raise the rates. Now they brought it back down. So I think the issue is just after COVID, we had all these long-term effects that maybe we didn't expect. And so it might seem like things are really bad, but I think the grocery stores are also taking advantage because we have a monopoly. Like, you know how
I
in the
hate
States you
monopoly.
guys have,
They're the
yeah,
worst.
we have monopolies like grocery stores and even our phone companies. Like
Do you remember
Rogers
the
Bell.
bread price fixing scandal?
Yes,
That
but
is insane.
there was a bread they were fixing bread prices between the
All
grocery
of
stores.
the grocery stores agreed to raise the prices of bread together.
Yeah.
So that we would have to pay more for bread.
Like all kinds
Because
of
it's only,
bread,
like,
or
3
just
families.
loaf bread,
all
or-
kinds of bread.
all
All
kinds
kinds
of
of bread. They
So,
they
yeah.
all agreed behind the scenes to raise the prices of bread by like
Yeah.
$3. And they still haven't gone down. Even after the scandal got outed, they still haven't gone down.
Yeah. It's because it's all monopoly. Like 3 families, if I'm being honest, run Canada when it comes to like owning
100%
stuff. Is it the
Fucking
Wayland? Is
Canadian.
Guess and Wayland?
Yeah.
It's insane. That's why Rogers a few years ago, I think it was Verizon. No, not Verizon. What's the really big phone company in the States? There's like a really, is it
Bell?
Verizon?
No.
No. What's the really big one? There was a really big one that tried to come to Canada.
AT&T?
And they blocked it. Rogers and Bell were able to block them from coming to Canada. And that would have diversified, I believe, the market when it comes to telecommunication companies. But they want a monopoly so that they can charge us
And internet
unreasonable
is so
prices.
expensive.
Internet is so expensive. If you look at our
My phone
plans,
plan
you
is
guys-
$80. If I had the same phone plan in the States, it would be $20.
Mine's 100 because I got like the extra, like the roaming to go to the States.
Me
Like,
too,
plus
me
stuff,
too.
right? Oh my gosh, how'd you get it for 80? Sorry, but no, we can.
I
talk it out.
Telus, but Telus isn't great. Telus actually sucks. So.
Because it's like that's crazy. But yeah,
No.
those are my complaints, and I can kind of
look. You know what? I feel better now. I feel better that you guys have so many problems. I was like, man, America's got a lot going on. And
I will say one thing.
ahead.
I was proud to be a Canadian before the pandemic. The pandemic happened. I'm not proud to say I'm a Canadian anymore. It sucks here.
Damn.
Like in terms of like prices, or just in like people like what do you mean?
I feel like everything's gone so downhill. Like I feel like I don't feel happy living in Canada. The way that I did 5 years ago, the way that I was proud to be Canadian and I thought everything was amazing here. Like I have been on the list to get a doctor for 3 years now. I can't get a doctor. I haven't been to a doctor in years because we don't have access to healthcare. Like we have free healthcare, but we don't have enough doctors. We're letting in hundreds of thousands and millions of people, which is fine. Like I don't care about that. But we're not getting more doctors. They're all moving to the States because they get paid more and they get treated better there.
Yeah, we aren't paying, and I would actually agree with that. We don't pay our doctors enough money, or our healthcare workers. Our government had to just stop immigration basically because they were basically, we don't have the housing at all for the amount of immigration they were bringing in, which meant everything skyrocketed. Houses are now, like I'm telling you, over $1 million. So people who thought they could own a house years ago, good luck. Like I'm not even joking.
It's impossible. No, like I live in the middle of nowhere. We have 3 McDonald's. Okay, a 1-bedroom here, $1,800. Why? We're in the middle of nowhere. I can smell the farm right now. I can smell the farm, and I'm paying $1,800 for a 1-bedroom. That is insane. That doesn't make any sense. That's not okay.
An article that came out that in about 6 years, they think rent in Vancouver could jump up to $7,900 a month. Now, I need everyone to understand something. Who can afford that? Because who's making over, on average, $200,000 a year? To be able to afford that type of rent, even if you share with people, that's a lot to ask from like the average person.
This is turning into the anti-Canada stream, and
I'm saying there are things we need to fix, but I'm happy Justin Trudeau kind of leveled off on immigration until we get our housing up, because our housing is a huge issue. So until we can...
I mean, housing was an issue before we even had immigration, and then the pandemic and then immigration exacerbated all of the problems we had already. And it's like, the thing that also pissed me off, it took them so long to fix it. It took them so long to turn around. Like, we were having problems for months and months and months, basically years, and instead of doing anything about it, they just kept letting people in, which is crazy to me. Like, it's crazy. Ugh.
A big thing, though, Ontario is going to have an issue with is getting out Doug Ford. He tried to sell off the Greenbelt, and then when he realized that we all were like, oh, this is corruption, he went to go get the Greenbelt back. You have to look into this. This is incredible. They're also the same. The Conservatives sold the 407, right? It's a highway Canadians can drive on.
Whole list of
to an
topics.
International company. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying, I was like, man, I hope we don't have a lot of dead air and my topics don't hit. My first topic is going. I didn't even need to make the others. We could just run with this. I'm here to shit on Canada all day. I'm with you.
If you can get Canadians to start talking about Canada, you'll never run out of content. Nobody pays attention to Canada. Nobody does. Nobody cares. We care, okay? We have to live here. We care.
We had so many foreign... I'm not joking, because I think what people realized, there was a boom from like 2011 until like now, because of the interest rates, right? Of realizing that people could buy property in Canada, because Canada was pretty safe, right? You're right beside America. You don't directly have to go into America. It's like relatively safe. It was a stable economy to invest in. So you had a wave of people coming in and buying up property, which meant everyone was like, oh, I can sell my house now for $1 million, when honestly, it's valued at $500,000. If you look at our housing market, you'll be shocked. You will be...
The most base thing that happened in BC is when they banned Airbnbs.
Yeah.
That was chef's kiss. Dude, Airbnb made things 100 times worse. So now in British Columbia, I don't think it's like that for the rest of Canada, but it absolutely should be. You cannot Airbnb a house that isn't your primary residence. So like it has to be either attached to your house or in your house. You cannot buy a second home in Airbnb. And so many places came on the rental market after they banned Airbnb, and you could just tell they were an Airbnb.
Yeah. And also they tax. So if you bought a second home, now if you have a second home and you're not using it, you're getting a huge tax on that as well. Like the government, I don't think they're messing around anymore.
Dylan Burns, thank you for the raid. It's Happy Halloween, gang. We have a lot of anti-Canadian bias on this panel today, but that's
No,
okay.
no, I still love Canada. I just think there's a lot of issues that aren't.
I love Canada.
dealt
I'm
with.
just not proud to be a Canadian at this moment in time until I feel like our
What has to-
country
okay, no,
isn't
that's a good
treating its
question.
citizens well.
Yeah, that's a good question. Julie, what has to change? What do you think? If suddenly
Housing
I
needs
snap
to
my
be
fingers,
affordable.
bibbity bobbity boo, boom, you're in charge of Canada. What are the top 3 changes you make? Go ahead.
Everything needs to be affordable. We need to. It needs to be affordable. We need to get rid of monopolies because right now I live in BC. There's only one place I can insure my car. That's not okay. I should have options. We need to have options, and it needs to be affordable. And the government. I mean, the options we have for government right now are throw them out. Okay, we need somebody new. Truthfully.
Fair enough. Throw the bums out. I love it. We're here for it, gang. We got a lot to go in. Fairy Queen, I feel like we're leaving you out, though. I know you don't play League, and you aren't from Canada. I don't know what's going on. What are some of your thoughts? Like, what for this spooky season? Okay. Oh no, here's a question. Do you still have those tarot cards?
I don't. They're
What about
somewhere
that
around
Ouija
here.
board?
No, I don't have that either. I'm so sorry.
Come on me, bro.
I know. I
Come
know.
on
I
me,
know.
bro.
I wish. I wish.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Do you have any Canadian thoughts before we move on from the Canadian topic?
Canadian thoughts? Listen, I don't know enough about Canada, okay, to dare to tarnish, okay, the proud land, okay, of maple syrup, okay,
Yeah.
and park rangers.
My gosh.
I won't mess with these people, okay, unless I have like some solid critiques already locked and loaded in the chambers. So I think I'm good.
There is something that that came out today. Do you guys know that Dragon's Age Veilguard came out today? It's a video game for those of you who don't know. I've seen some of the character customizations, and I think I sent you a video on it, Fairy Queen. I'm not sure if you saw it. They don't allow, like, they have a breast slider in it, but the breast proportions are very limited, and I feel like that's an actual issue. But I can't tell if it's an issue. No, I can't tell if it's... Hold on, listen. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay? Hear me out. I don't know if it's because of sexism or feminism, right? Is it sexist not to allow
either one
a
is
lot
terrible,
of big
right?
boobies? Or is it feminist to not allow a lot of big boobies? What do you think? Let's go. Let's start with this.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
Hold on. If look,
it's a civil rights issue that you can't make the poor
do you think
characters'
representation
boobs
is important?
instead of melon.
Hold on. Do you think representation
lemons instead
is
of
important?
melons? This is your problem, really? You feel like this is a huge problem?
I care about representation in media.
Oh,
okay?
The representation of a G cup? You don't need that. Nobody needs that. What the hell are you talking about? Okay. The boob enhancement slider scale.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
This is some nonsense. Are you kidding me?
Really? Oh man.
I'm just saying, Wick, okay? You actually prepared that as a question for this evening. Hey, gang, tonight we're going to talk today about the boob enhancement slider.
That's all you could think about. It's all you could think about.
If you couldn't choose your skin tone in the game, people would be up in arms. They'd say this is a terrible character customization option, right? We'd agree. We'd think it would be bad if we lacked those options, correct? Yes? No?
I mean, it depends on the game. I don't think it's like that big of a deal.
I don't know how.
Like, I don't know.
Oh, she got her Doritos out. We got the regular kind of Doritos.
I know those actually look good too.
The regular kind. Look, no, there's it. Hold on. Look at the name on the bag. Tell me the name on the bag. Does it just say regular kind? What's
Doritos.
It say there? It says nacho cheese.
Nacho cheese.
That's the kind you got.
That's the understood to be the regular kind.
Yeah, that's the regular kind.
This is the regular Dorito.
Come on.
First Dorito.
This is the issue with Americans.
Dorito. Holy shit, I can't speak.
It's the Garden of Eden of Doritos, okay? It's like the apple is in the bag, okay?
I've been craving these all day.
True. See?
I don't know. I think we should have representation of a wide variety of body types in media.
Uh-huh.
I think.
Okay,
that,
okay. So if that's
Yeah.
true, okay,
Yes.
let
It's
me
true.
let me reverse it back to you, okay? Would you feel comfortable, okay, if for the character customization, okay, instead of adjusting the boob size, you could adjust the ball size, okay?
I am
Yeah, the
playing a
penis
game
size.
right
Titty
now. Hold
size
on.
of these.
I came
I want
prepared
big
for
balls.
this. I'm playing a game called Amazing Cultivation Simulator right now. And in this
Okay.
game, you can it's based on Chinese mythology, okay? And in this game, you can remold parts of your body. If you're a male character, I can literally remold my phallus, which is an organ they allowed you to
Oh.
remold in order
Like
to
your
have
penis?
special abilities. Yes, it's your penis.
No way.
You absolutely
no.
can. You can get different
kind of like
powers
smut.
on it. Yes.
But
You
it's
can
good
make
You
your
don't see
wand
it.
have magic powers? Are you serious?
But you can
Swish
customize
hand
it.
flick Wingardium Levioso.
With his penis? That's horrific.
Oh my god, that is
It's
horrific.
part of the game. Like you can customize your finger bones. Like you can remold your finger
Oh.
bones to like be like tiger strikes and stuff. But like you could do your liver, your lungs, your brain, all these things. Right? It's just
That's
the
insane.
customization's important.
Okay, but don't pretend like you don't understand what I'm saying, okay? You know, okay, if there was a character customization,
You just don't
okay,
care about
that
certain body
allowed
sizes. I get
the
it.
testicular sac, okay, to resemble a huge sack of basketballs, okay, you
Oh,
would feel
God.
uncomfortable.
Why?
That would be weird. Why
I
would
don't
it be
have
weird?
to use it.
Are we talking about being
It's-
able to make boobs bigger in video games?
Yes.
Yes,
You
that's
can do
what he's
that
talking.
in Sims. Who cares?
No, you can't
literally
in
do
this
that in
game. This
Sims.
is a problem I'm having with a recent game that came out. You can't.
Oh
They
my
limit
god.
you.
You should be able to do that everywhere. Who cares? If I want a big titty hoe, I want a big titty hoe. It makes the game so much more fun.
Exactly. Exactly. And the fact that they didn't allow that as a customization option, I think, is a
I also
detriment
want
to
a big dick dude though. I should be able to
Oh.
make his dick bigger for sure. Like
Oh, yeah, well-
iconically, I want to type in like 7.5 inches and then play.
Look, there's
You know,
if you guys remember Conan Online, you could do that. You
No.
could make a huge schlong for your guy. Or
That's
you could
fucking
make it
awesome.
very
like
small.
RuneScape?
Not RuneScape. Conan Online. I don't know about RuneScape.
You'll look it up later.
She's Googling it right now, gang. Dick sizes in video games. Let's go. No,
These people
don't show it
vote.
on screen.
I think that's a good idea. I think we should do that.
Yep.
The whole game is just making the dick bigger.
As you go, that's how you level up. Like
Listen,
one
This
level
sounds like
equals 1
Never
inch
mind.
or 1 centimeter, I guess, since you guys are Canadian.
That's-
but-
Listen, I don't think it's a civil rights issue that, people can't make their genitals the size of like dinosaur tails, okay, in these games, okay? I think we're okay, all right? I think
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay, I don't know. I wanted it to something a little less political for the
I mean, that was pretty
discussion.
spicy. That was good.
You liked it? You liked it? What about you? Do you have any topics for us tonight, Mooncake? Did you come prepared with anything to talk about? I got more if you want, but it's gonna
No,
be
no, no. I know. I'm willing to hear yours. I mean, I think I always have like random stuff. I don't know. We'll see.
random's okay.
I want you to go with.
Random's
What's
okay.
your
Do you,
stuff
hold
first?
on. Mooncake, do you still think that women shouldn't be drafted, but men
Oh yeah, I still
are?
think that.
You
I
still
think that's
that?
like.
I
I
agree.
still think that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like come on. Like, are we being serious?
I think you're
Let's just
stupid
be
if you
so
want to
real.
draft women. You're actually dumb.
Like, what do
Listen,
you mean?
here's why you're dumb. Somebody has to have babies. You're gonna put your baby makers on the front line. You fucking idiot. Your whole society's gonna collapse. You're not gonna have any
Hold
kids.
on.
You're
If I
you're
Yeah,
draft
dumb.
you,
literally.
that doesn't mean I
Well,
put you on my
that's-
front line. There's plenty of jobs
Who's-
women can do in the military.
You
that
should
men
not
on
be
the front line.
putting women in a position where they could potentially die. You need
Who's
to
going-
have babies.
So we're
to
not
further
letting
society.
them drive now? They could
Who's going
potentially
to take
die.
care of the families?
No,
Who's gonna
somebody
take care
should
of the
drive for me
families?
every day. What the fuck?
If the women just go to war, who's going to take care of the families? Because these men aren't doing it, so they're still not going to do it. Even if the women go to war, you're going to have a bunch of kids living on the street panhandling for cash and money to buy something to eat.
What do you
So
think?
no, you can't send women to war.
What do you think, Fairy Queen? Do you think that women should be required to sign up for the draft if men are?
Well, you know what, Wick? Here's what I think, okay? As far as like who gets to have rights, who gets to make decisions in society. I had this conversation, with some people a while back, okay? And what I proposed to them, okay, is that, if you think about like anything that you could make with your own hands, okay? Like if I put 60% of my resources into building a house, right? You would say that I own 60% of the house, okay? because I put most of my resources into it, even if you came up and you put 40% afterwards, right? So if I'm doing most of the labor and if I'm putting in most of the resources into building something, I own it, right? And really, I own it because I put more of my resources and stuff into it, right? It's not really true that like you own it. I own most of it because
I'm
I own
waiting
most
for
of
you
it,
to
right?
tie this back to the subject at hand, but go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, you agree. You agree with me though, right? Like that this makes sense.
For the sake
yes?
of argument, sure. Yes, let's go.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, right? When, you give birth, right? We think of it like being 50-50 man versus woman, but really your mitochondrial DNA, that comes almost entirely from your mom, and your mom does all of the labor to put you here on
What
this
does it
earth.
have to do with the giraffe?
I'm getting
Okay.
there. I'm getting there. Okay. So because of that, okay, I think it only makes logical sense, okay, that every person is therefore in some ways owned, okay, by their mom. Your mom owns you. And not only does she own you, but she owns you in perpetuity. She owns you from the minute you're born until the day you die. She not only owns you, she owns your genetic material. So she owns her grandchildren, and she owns them, not their husband, because she's the one who put more of her investment and more of her labor into creating these people, which means women, therefore, should not be drafted. In fact, only women who have given birth should be the only people who make any decisions in society, actually. They should be the only ones to own property, the only ones to vote, the only ones to make hold any political office, the only ones to make any of these decisions, because after all, at the end of the day, they made all of the people and they own all of the people. And so, of course, they shouldn't be drafted, okay? Of course, you should be the ones to be drafted in their stead, okay? They made you. They get to
Couldn't have
decide
said
whether
any
you live
better.
or die.
Yeah, but what if my mom
Fabulous.
doesn't want me to die? What if my mom wants you to die for me?
Fabulous work.
Well, then she can make that vote decision. Okay, that's up to her. Only those, okay, who make all the people in society get to make decisions for all the people in society. And that's how it's going to be. And that's how it works.
So, would you say you're anti-surrogacy then?
I am anti-surrogacy.
I agree.
You agree with anti-surrogacy, or you agree with what she just said?
Anti-surrogacy.
What about
it's
you,
a little
Mooncake?
weird.
Are you anti-surrogacy too?
I don't know. This is like, I actually don't know how I feel.
I
I'm not.
think there's situations where it's okay. Like, obviously, there's people who are okay with like just being pregnant and don't care. But I feel like for example, in Canada, you can't sell like eggs or like any
Yeah.
bodily whatever. You can't. I think it should be that. Like, you shouldn't be
You
making
only
money
donate.
for surrogacy because
Yeah,
it
you
puts
can
a lot of
donate.
women in a position where, okay, I'm poor, but if I just get pregnant and have a baby, now I can have 20 grand. I feel like you shouldn't be paid for it. You should do it because you want to, not because there's a financial incentive.
Yeah, and I think for surrogacy, you've had to have had a child before. Like, you can't just be like a first timer and do it or
Agreed.
anything like that.
You don't know what you're getting
Um,
yourself into.
Yeah, and I think so. It's really complicated because if you have a willing family and a willing participant who are all consenting to this, right? They're all adults making an informed decision. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Agreed.
But I just don't want it to become like a factory, if that makes sense. Like
Also agree.
maybe, yeah, like I
It
don't
shouldn't
know
be
if I-
something that's it shouldn't be industrialized.
don't-
We shouldn't industrialize surrogacy, okay?
Yes, I would say that, like, for example, like just being able to donate your eggs or something, or be able to like
Yeah, if that's something you want to do, you should be able
yeah.
to do that. However, we shouldn't incentivize people to do certain things, one of them being surrogacy. We shouldn't make
That's-
that like a lucrative like
We
something
shouldn't.
that's like
Hold on. We shouldn't incentivize pregnancy. Why not?
surrogacy, not pregnancy.
I mean,
surrogacy.
look at the
Well, that's what surrogacy
the
is, isn't it? Pregnancy, but you're giving away.
But
a
you're not
baby.
keeping the baby. You're just
So?
pregnancy really takes a toll on a person. It really does.
So
Also, there's so many
does
kids-
does
so many kids to be
construction work,
adopted.
So does
But there's so
playing
many kids
as
to be
a-
adopted. So there's other things beyond like surrogacy. And I think, why don't we push adoption a little bit more? I do wonder about
I
that.
agree. Adoption should be cheaper. It shouldn't be easier, but it should be cheaper, I think.
I don't know what I think about this, gang. I'm not.
You can also foster. I got fostered. I think fostering is great. That's something I would like to do when I'm older.
Yeah, but surrogacy is just adoption, but you're like choosing.
I know, but why do you have to make your own baby? Like, you don't need to make your own baby. You should be able to
I
love a
don't
baby
know.
anyways.
People like to. People want to,
Yeah,
and if
people
everyone
just like
involved
to, but-
consents, why not?
I don't know.
If everyone consents, it's okay. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying we shouldn't incentivize
Okay,
people to do it.
I think that
Yeah.
you're saying that, but I don't think Fairy Queen would say that, unless I'm wrong.
No.
I can understand why she would say no.
Yeah. I am not for surrogacy. I think that Well, for a number of reasons. Like one of the big reasons, the biggest reason is that like it tends to be it tends to be exploitative, and especially like when we look at like women who are in extremely poor countries, like women who are in poverty. These women are extremely vulnerable to wealthier couples, like in foreign countries, going to these women, offering them, lots of money, in order to give birth to their child. And these women are often treated very poorly in these situations. There are cases of like surrogates who give birth to babies, and then those babies are abandoned by the parents because because the baby is born a different race than they expected. So that has happened before. Or
Fair
the
enough.
baby turns out to have a
You're-
problem, right?
So you're okay with government control over women's bodies in certain situations.
I
The
think that part
government
of what
can
it is.
tell the woman, you can't be a surrogate.
Yes, I am okay with that. And I actually think
Interesting.
that, believe it or not, I think that is actually the feminist thing to do, believe it or not.
I wouldn't, man, I wouldn't infringe though. I think that we've gotten to a point where like this has become like normalized in a way, right? Surrogacy is a thing. And there are unfortunate events that do happen, but that's kind of with everything, right? We are going to expect some things that it's not going to completely work out. It's not going to be the happy ending that maybe we're looking for. But to strip away that opportunity for some people to be mothers in the way that they choose to be mothers, I think is us infringing on their right. And I just think, yeah, it's the same thing as saying like, I think it's comparable to even talking about abortion, to be honest. I just don't think we should be able to tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies. And like I said, I understand there's some complicated situations that could happen. But like I said, as long as it's like donating, I don't like the idea of like the payment. Maybe a payment plan through the government, if we want to talk about the government in that way, right? Government can subsidize some of these payments, so it's not like incentivized from like a private.
So it's regulated.
view.
So it's
Yeah,
regulated
yeah,
too.
exactly. So it's regulated by the government, right? That way we can have some oversight. But yeah, that's would be my
Sure,
kind
I
of
have no
rebuttal to
problem
that.
with surrogacy having some regulations, much like any other job
Yeah.
has regulations. Any other contract that you make civilly, right?
I still don't think you should get paid for it. I still don't think you should be paid for surrogacy.
I don't
I
know.
I feel
can
like that because
understand.
I feel like that convinces people to do it. I
But
feel
that's
like
just-
if you're
that's
gonna
with
get
every
paid 20
job.
grand, yeah, but
Yeah,
like I
That's
don't.
with every job. Do you think I'm doing this for free? No.
Pregnancy is different than a job. Pregnancy is different than a job. It fundamentally changes you as a person. It's
There are many jobs which are very hard on the body. I understand pregnancy is a unique case, but I think
that's
that
why I'm saying it's unique. You shouldn't be paid for it. You should do it because you want to,
I
not
think
because
maybe
you need to pay your bills.
subsidized by the government because appointments can be expensive, getting to appointments, right? Especially if we're talking about, I'm assuming all classes of women would have a chance to maybe be a surrogate if they want to be. We have to think about like costs of them getting around.
I would say
Especially when they
those
get to
things should
8
be
months.
paid for. Like you shouldn't have to pay anything to be a surrogate. Like you should get your costs
Yeah.
covered to be a surrogate, but you shouldn't get money like otherwise. Like
Hmm.
do you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
don't
you
know.
shouldn't
I
be
think
paid otherwise.
go ahead, Fairy
So
Queen. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, just a couple of things. Like first of all, like I won't disagree with you that like being an anti-surrogacy position is a position that tells like women what they can do with their own bodies. But I just to remind everyone, like most people, like even pro-choice people, right? Unless your position is right that you should be able to have an abortion at any time, at any point during the pregnancy for any reason at all, right? So you could literally be in the 9th month, right, on the day like when you're ready to give birth, and like unlike it's okay for you to have an abortion. Then unless that is your position, that's your an abortion position, which is not most people, right? It's not even most pro-choice people, right? Then you are also in favor of the government limiting like what women are able to do with their bodies, right?
Yeah.
And I think
I'm also in
everyone
favor of the women not getting paid for their services too. So I mean, you guys are just preaching to the choir here. But go
well,
on.
but
Please.
well, I'm just saying that like I think that like most people, like including like most feminists, are okay, right, with some amount of regulation, some amount of restriction going on. The reason like why we say this, why we argue against, like some restrictions is not because we think that the government should not have any say in like what people should do with their bodies, because it's not just women, it's also men. It's about are these like restrictions reasonable, right? Are they reasonable restrictions? Do they infringe upon the basic rights and liberties that we have structured and set down in our nation, right? Does it make sense to have it? That's the question, right? Not just if it's a restriction, but is this a reasonable restriction given the amount of information that we have? And I think that surrogacy and egg donation and sperm donation,
So even
on one level,
sperm
yeah.
donation. So if I go down to the sperm clinic, you don't want me to get paid for
No.
Can I
shooting
just
fat
clarify?
ropes into cups?
Sorry, can I, Fairy Queen, just clarify? So is your stance on surrogacy just no, like, if you could have it, no surrogacy at all? Like, it just
Yeah,
wouldn't be a thing?
no, I think that surrogacy should probably be illegal, actually. I
Okay.
think that it probably should be illegal. I think it should be treated, I view it basically in the same way as prostitution. I view it as the same thing. I don't think, the only thing that I think that's really effectively different is that in one case, you're paying someone to have sex with them. In the second case, you're paying somebody to give birth for you. The only difference between like these two examples, right, is the purpose behind why you're objectifying this woman in this way. The one instance, you're doing it so that you can have a baby. In the second instance, you're doing it because you want to have sex. And I don't think either of those things are okay.
Can
Yeah,
you
but
compare sexual gratification in one, like, 5 minutes to a child? Like having a child? I don't understand the comparison.
You're asking, think about like what it means. Like what I think it was like what Julie said earlier is true. Like what Wick has said is true as well, right? Childbirth is a dangerous thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. Pregnancy is a dangerous thing to do. And it's not,
Mhm.
and unlike the other jobs that like what Wick could bring up, like working in construction or working in like all of these other
or
cases,
being a soldier in the military.
but the difference
Right.
is that like this is a medical condition that you have sustained every single day, all day for 9 months until at the end. And the thing is, especially because there's now an increased concern upon you, because now if something bad happens to you, it's not just that you get hurt, it's not just that your life is at risk, it's that an entirely new person, a baby, an innocent person, that person's life is at risk. This is a huge
Isn't
thing to ask of anybody. It's such a big thing that it honestly, the only person who should do it is the person who is going to have the baby themselves. You should not ask friends, you should not ask family members, and you shouldn't ask strangers
Yeah,
to do it
but
for you
it's a
either.
willing participant. Like, it's consensual. There's no force, there's no obligation, there's no the thing of this nature. If I'm just giving it all like the credit we can, you're making it sound like they're being forced into these positions in a way. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but
Do you?
that's just
Well, I mean, like, I compared it to prostitution earlier, right? I'm absolutely sure that you could probably find people who work as prostitutes who probably do it and who love their job, okay? Who are happy to do it. And it's a job that they enjoy doing, right? But right, as an average person walking up into the front place of a brothel, that when you're looking at all of the people that work there, statistically speaking, most of the women that go there, they're not people that are doing it because they're happy. They're not doing it because this is their job of choice. They're doing it because they are extremely poor. In many cases, a lot of the women, specifically with prostitution, they have histories of like being abused as kids. It's not uncommon for SA to
okay.
be very like this is so when
But
you go to this group of people, right,
but
and you ask this person to
prostitution
do this for you, right? That seems kind of messed up to me, and I think that it's the same thing with childbirth. In fact, it's potentially even worse for childbirth, to be honest
prostitution
with you.
is involves sexual gratification in the end, right? We're not talking about sexual gratification, we're talking about like a life. So to compare it to
No,
prostitution, I
it's
just find
No,
it
it's much. No, it's
a
much
little.
worse. It's
I
much
find it
worse.
a
It's much worse than
little
prostitution.
Hold on.
odd.
We gotta
What
let
I'm
one at a time. We gotta let Mooncake
what I'm gonna
finish, and then we're
ask
gonna
is
go to
just that
Fairy Queen.
what is the difference of a surrogacy situation and then somebody just like meeting up with friends and getting like I'm sorry, Wick, I'm trying to break this down the best I can. So sorry if I'm getting a little confused. I can't.
Take your time.
I'm not understanding the comparison to prostitution. I'm trying to break it down in my head, even trying to see it from like a very feminist view. I don't understand. Maybe I need more clarification, Fairy Queen. If you could continue, maybe
Sure.
I'm losing it.
So I actually think that, like, in a way, like surrogacy, you could argue, is practically potentially even worse than prostitution. And the way that it's worse is that you're going to a person, okay, a person who's probably very poor, a person who doesn't have a lot of financial resources, person who probably has already had a child already themselves. They already have, because as Julie mentioned, as you know, you have to have had a pregnancy before
Yeah.
in order to qualify as a surrogate. So you have a woman who knows what it's like to be a mother, okay? a woman who probably is doing this because she needs money in order to pay and to help to protect that other child. And then, so think about what that would feel like to be impregnated and to hold a baby, okay, inside of you for 9 months. And for 9 months, you are going to the appointments. You're looking at photographs of what the baby looks like. You're feeling the baby kick inside of you. You are eating food that the baby is also eating and will grow up having a memory of. You feel the baby. It hears you every time you wake up in the morning to go take a shower. You have this idea, this emotional experience that comes with being pregnant and connecting to that fetus that is in your stomach, that is in your tummy. And then the day comes, you give birth, and that baby that you have been thinking about, that has been with you every single day for 9 months, is now all of a sudden picked up and taken away from you to a couple of people, and
So
you
do you
will
believe in
never
adoption?
see that.
I think
and
that
you will never see that
adoption?
child
the
ever
thing here
again.
though is like it definitely is like an emotional, like impactful thing, and for the majority of people, that's gonna like harm them in ways that they wouldn't understand it would harm them. But there are definitely people that can totally detach and don't care.
But I'm just
Maybe, but
curious,
like, do you think the child can detach and doesn't care?
but
Do you think the
do you
child has
believe
the right to
in
know?
adoption then? Do you believe in adoption? Because what you're saying just sounds like adoption. There are some people who literally give birth and then immediately after the baby's adopted. Like we see that teen mothers all the time. But this idea, I think you're making a lot of
I would agree with
assumptions.
you that that does happen in some cases, but when that happens, that's usually because of an extraordinarily sad situation. It's because, as you
Not
mentioned,
completely.
because it's a teen mother, or because the mother is too poor, or the family
Or
is too
sometimes
poor.
they don't want to even be pregnant. Sometimes people have a baby and then they realize, oh, you know what? I just don't want to be a mother, right? And they put their kid up for adoption. But you're making it sound like it's more sinister than it actually is. And I think there are a lot of assumptions, right? We don't know how many women are coming from poor backgrounds, right? The average, I just went to quickly Google, a cost of like IVF and stuff in the States when it comes to surrogacy is like $145,000. Right? Also, to be a mother before makes sense because you're already prepared for what the experience is going to be. I would be probably against it if it was first time people just being able to be a surrogate. I don't think that's a good idea, but it's a professional relationship where in the
No.
end, a child is supposed to get adopted into a loving family, right? And I think to impede on somebody's right to be able to do that, what if take away the doctors? It was a married couple who went to their friend and said, "Hey, can my husband have sex with you? And then could we adopt the baby?" People do stuff like that.
Yeah,
People
and I
do.
think that's
And
and I think
unfortunate, I think that's worse than, honestly, I'm going to be honest, sometimes worse than surrogacy. I know, I'd argue that probably is worse than surrogacy because of the complications that can thing. But then will lead to situations like that. And we probably don't want situations like that. I'm just saying these are things we have to consider.
I think that there are very few things in this world that I think are more evil than the idea of going to a poor mother and taking her child away from her and giving them to someone else, and her having to live with that for the rest of her life. And
But if she
putting another
agrees
woman
to
in.
it,
Yeah, but how do
I
you know
know,
she's
and
poor?
but I
How do
know,
you know
but
she's
like
poor? What if she's
you,
rich?
but you as the rich person are asking somebody to put themselves in that position. You're asking somebody to have that happen to them. Think about
that's
like what that
why
must
I
feel
don't
like.
think there should be a financial incentive to do it. You
Well,
should
okay,
just
but what if
want to
they
do it from
ask?
like
Yeah,
your own heart. There
yeah.
shouldn't
What
be
if they're just
money
donating?
involved.
But
Like they just
even
want to
that,
do it.
but even that, let's think about this, okay? Think about like who would it probably be? It probably would be a family member, right? Like maybe your sister, or maybe your mother, or maybe an aunt, maybe a very close friend. And now think about like what the consequence of that is. Now your relationship, your child's relationship with that person in your family is now compromised for the rest of their lives. It's not true that it's just like doing you a favor to help bring your baby into the world, okay? Do you think that children should have the right to know that they were born of a surrogate? Do you think that's something that they have the right to know?
I think that's
That's
up
fine.
to the parents because let's be honest, do our parents talk? Well, I mean, I don't think most parents say like, "I had sex with your father, and that's how you came." I mean, that's just between them. Like, I don't know if it's does it affect anything? What does it change? What would the kid knowing about them being part of a surrogacy change? It's still your
Well,
parents. You're still
I
raised by these people
well,
who are your
I
parents.
only ask because like you mentioned earlier, like the right for like those parents to have a child. I'm asking you, what rights do you think that child has? Do you think the child has the right to know? Do you think they have the right
When
to
they're
grow up
18,
with that
yes.
knowledge?
I don't think
Yeah, maybe you're like, I know. I don't even know. Like, I don't think
No, when they're
it's
18, yes.
important.
Children don't have the same rights as an adults, and that's good
Yeah.
that they don't have
Yeah,
the
I
same
think
like I
rights
so
as
don't
too.
even
adults.
think it's important to tell them. I don't think that's an important fact of life.
Especially like a newborn infant, like that infant is dumb as fuck. Who cares?
Babies are dumb. True.
They do
True.
be.
They're so
I don't remember
dumb.
anything. Does anyone remember anything before the age of like 5 or 6? No.
I mean,
It
I
definitely
have
can
earlier
influence.
memories, but I don't.
Okay, but when you do a surrogacy, doesn't the egg still come from the like the mother? If
I
it's a wife or
understand.
husband, it comes from the
Yes,
mother. It's
yes,
still
we
her
know.
DNA.
We're aware of that, and yes, that is true. However, right, that doesn't change the emotional relationship that the surrogate has with the pregnancy. It doesn't change the fact that how the child will feel or might potentially feel about the way that they came into the world years later, like when
I
they
think
grow
there's
up
a
to
lot of
become adults.
instances where you have to
Yeah.
give up an emotional relationship in your life, though. Like if somebody's
Yeah,
comfortable
it's a
doing that,
professional. Yeah, it's
well,
Well, then
like
if
just any.
transaction.
then if that's the case, then like the parents should be the people that are willing to give up that emotional relationship by choosing to adopt instead of having the surrogacy. Why should the emotional relationship that's sacrificed? Why should the kid be asked to do that? And why shouldn't the parents be asked to do that? Because let's be honest, like that's the reason, like why parents who are
Kids-
infertile, why
It's
they
not gonna
want you
care.
choose to they choose fertility treatments, why they choose
Okay,
to like
I
use a
don't.
surrogate. It's to have an
the-
emotional relation connection with the child,
But
right? It's
here's the
because
problem. Here's the problem with your argumentation, Carrie, if I may. Wizard stepping in here, okay, to cast a spell over the conversation. The problem is that there is no guarantee, even in a natural man and woman, no surrogacy involved, no adoption, that the kid will be okay with who his parents are. That's just a lottery, no matter what. No matter what, there is never a guarantee that the kid is going to be okay with who their parents are. What if their parents are just fundamentally bad people? We don't know. The kid don't know. The kid can't decide these things. There's no choice involved. So I don't think that arguing that surrogacy might make the child uncomfortable. It might, but so might be being adopted. So might be being the son of a poor mom, right? So might be a lot of other situations.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
Prefer to
is,
wanna
and like
do
what
it.
I'm alluding to, is there are some people who argue that kids should not ever find out, even when they're adults, as to whether or not they were born via surrogacy, whether or not they were born via egg or sperm donation.
Even when they're adults, they shouldn't find out.
Yes, there are some people that don't tell their kids, their offspring, until like they're old.
Well, they
and
should.
It leads and well, they don't though. And the reason why they don't is because of this emotional relationship that like we've been talking about, which is frankly a reason like why a lot of people want to have biological children. It's because they want to have they feel it would add to them having an emotional connection with their children. And so the consequence of this is that one, there have been cases of people getting married who were related by accident, who didn't realize that they were related. There was a case of like a person who was a sperm donor who like donated a ton of his sperm.
Accidental brotherfuckers, yeah, a lot of them.
But I mean, there are cases, right, of people that take advantage of this, right, and there are bad things that happen as a consequence of this. And also, I think that it sort of commodifies and it treats people as commodities to be bought and sold, right?
So does
as something
jobs.
to be customized.
So does having a job, right?
Yeah. Having
Any
a job is not
treats you as a commodity. Come on.
Yeah, but that's a job. That's not your parents. That's not you existing.
Surrogacy is a job.
I will say though, there's
do
a
you think
difference though. I think there's a difference between a job and like surrogacy or something like sexual or like something like reproductive in nature. Like your boss isn't gonna ask you to fucking just have a baby for them and that's normal. Everyone knows that's not normal. We don't do that. Like this is a big deal.
job.
It's unique. It's different. We don't treat it like we treat a regular job.
Yes, jobs have different requirements from you, and you usually know that going in. Look, I'm okay with further regulation on this, or having more strict regulation on certain occupations, certain ways of making money than others. I think that's good. In fact, it's healthy. But at the end of the day, I think that surrogacy, as a concept, is actually good. It helps people who cannot have children
Who really want to
have
kids?
children. As a concept. Now, you could point to bad practices, fair enough, right? We should get rid of bad practices within surrogacy, of exploitation, coercion, all these things. But if your argument is that money is coercive, yeah, no shit, but not in a way that's any different from any other job, right? Like,
Okay, do you feel the same way about prostitution then?
that's a good question.
I have a controversial opinion. I think
ahead.
it should be legalized. Prostitution should be legalized, and it should be government, like ran through the government. I think there should be government oversight, and we should legalize prostitution because it's never going to go away.
See, I don't agree with that. And I think that might be a fundamental difference between maybe me and you, Wick, because on the one hand, everything that you're saying right to me right now about surrogacy and about jobs, you could say the exact same thing about prostitution. And to be perfectly honest with you, if we really wanted to push it to the absolute extreme, right, the legalization of slavery, you could push it all the way to that instance, right?
No,
I mean, it's your body. You can do whatever it is you want with it. Why shouldn't you be able to profit off of it? Why is it different? It's your body. You are the product. So why shouldn't you be able to sell yourself?
Mooncake,
much
tell her
different.
why it's different. Go ahead.
Well, it's okay. A couple of things. When I talk about the legalization of prostitution, I believe that it's okay if you still want to go after some of the Johns, right? But I think that if you start to legalize prostitution, you start to clean up the streets as well. Poverty. You start to lower crime rates. People having to hide. They can't tell about maybe pimps in the neighborhood, anything to do with that, people who are harming those communities. You also stop the spread of HIV, AIDS, things of that nature. You're going to lower your healthcare costs, right? Now, if it's government mandated, let's be honest, it's been around since the dawn of time. Prostitution isn't going anywhere, right? So what do you do with it? What do you create? You need to create a safeguard, something limited in society since it's going to be there. Guess what? People are always going to do these things, but if we step into, and I know this is maybe more of my outlandish takes, maybe for some people, but I see it benefiting society more. For example, I would reference maybe, which isn't perfect, the red light district in, I think it's Amsterdam, right? They have something of that nature where people can go pay for services. And so that's one thing. And then to compare it to slavery, we're talking about, it's kind of slap in the face. You're talking about 400 to 500 years of physically abusing. And when I say physically abusing, doing anything you wanted to slaves, right? I'm not talking about that when we compare it to prostitution. So I think it's really that simple. But yeah, go ahead.
So,
Before you respond, I'm curious what Julie's thoughts here. I know your position. I know Mooncake's position. Julie, what's your position? Prostitution, legal? Illegal?
I don't think that women should be criminalized I think people buying prostitutes should be affected. I don't think women, because I think a lot of women who go into prostitution, if you're sleeping with strangers for money, you're in a fucking hard place. That's just the fact of the matter. You're really going through it. So I don't think that they should be in trouble for doing that. I think if they get caught doing that, it should be mandatory to make sure that they get help, but not that they're charged, if that makes sense.
I get you. I understand. Very cool.
The people buying it are obviously preying on weak women, and they should I want to punch them in the teeth.
Okay. Very Queen, go ahead. Give us your thoughts.
Yeah. So as far as it just because it should be legalized because it's the world's oldest profession. I mean, my response to you, that is part of the reason why I'm bringing up slavery as the example. Okay. Slavery has also been a part of the world's, it's been a part of the world's labor force since the beginning of time. Okay.
And what was the benefit for slaves? What was the benefit for slaves? Because at least in prostitution,
the cold psychopathic benefit for slaves is cheap labor that you can use to build huge monuments.
For slaves, what did the slaves get out of it?
Well, in some cases, there were some examples of people who sold themselves into slavery because they were trying to pay off a debt. So they were often in debt, or they wanted to pay off a huge debt to the community, and it was beneficial. It was the
that's not beneficial.
There are people who work as sex workers who have OnlyFans who will say that the reason why they have work is prostitution.
You're smarter than this to compare this to slavery. I'm actually going to say this. You are much smarter than this to compare prostitution to slavery. It's actually shocking. It's genuinely shocking that you compare.
I have to agree. Trying to say that slaves benefited from slavery, the whole notion of slave.
That's what you're.
The whole notion of slave is there are no benefits. You're a fucking slave.
There is no pro.
I'm just explaining to you the historical reason upon why people did.
I feel like you could compare prostitution to something else. I think you did a bad take. Comparing it to slavery.
No, I didn't. The thing is, just because something is an old profession and just because it's something that has been here for hundreds and if not thousands of years, and I'm sorry, but anyone who thinks that slavery has gone the way of the dodo hasn't been paying attention. It's still very much a part of our modern day economy, okay? Okay, it is absolutely still part of our modern society, but does that mean it's a good thing? Does that mean it's something that we should support? Of course not, right? Because
there's no benefit to the slaves. Even now, they still have no benefit. So child slaves right now, what benefit do they get out of being child slaves?
Is
there a benefit? And no, I'm
I
just
don't
asking, is there a
think I'm
benefit?
not. Okay. To be very, very clear, I don't think that slavery is a good thing. I don't
Well,
think that
I'm saying
prostitution
in
is a good thing. Okay.
prostitution, there's a transaction. So she's probably getting money and they're getting sex. When you talk about slavery, what is the slave getting? The master is getting something. What is the slave
It's
getting?
also like when if you sell yourself into sex work like prostitution, you still have rights, like you still have like
Yeah.
bodily autonomy and things like that. When you're a slave, you have no rights. You have nothing. You are a tool for another person. When
Well,
you're a
I
sex
mean,
worker, you're still able to fight for yourself. You can't fight for yourself as a slave.
Okay, well, one, I will just remind everyone here, okay, that sexual slavery is a part of what when we're talking about prostitution, okay? So this idea, okay, first of all, like you're talking about like there is no benefit, okay? I mean, some of these people, okay, like have been kidnapped and have been forced to be prostitutes, okay? They're human trafficking,
Hold
okay?
on.
Their case,
If
like,
if
I
I
mean,
may, if I may, I don't think anyone here is talking about sexual like people who are forced into prostitution. Under
No.
no circumstances should anyone be forced into
No.
prostitution. I don't think Mooncake would say that. I don't think Julie would say that. So I think that like that would be akin to slavery, which is I think as
Still
we
wrong.
have bravely decided on this panel, slavery, gang, is bad. You're holding
Thanks,
slaves.
Squid.
not only, listen,
Release them.
I understand that it's easy to kind of laugh at this take, but I had this conversation with a friend of mine recently, and I really think that this. I know it feels like slavery is an issue that's sort of over and done with, and that we're never going to think about it again. I don't think that's true. I think that probably in the next 50 to 100 years, a lot of the questions that we have about like why it's bad to sell people, why it's bad to own people, what does it mean to be a person, these are going to be questions that we're going to talk about again. And if you don't think that that's true, okay, ask yourself like what it means, okay, when you're able to buy sperm and when you're able to buy eggs and when you're able to hire people, a lot of people, okay, to be impregnated to give birth for you, to people who you now are legally, technically,
So,
you're able to have
Oh, can
possession of
those
as a
people say
consequence.
no?
so yeah. So like, if you mentioned something I mentioned was government intervention, which is when I brought up with prostitution, is to
Mm.
solve some of these issues that Fairy Queen was actually mentioning this entire time. Is that if you involve the government, there's oversight now, right? That actually would harm the biggest part of the black market. I think like 50% of the black market is sexual slavery, right? If you legalize prostitution, you can now save some of those people from that market. And we've seen that before. It's the same thing you do with drugs. So when I talk about it, even though for some people it sounds insane, but that means it lowers poverty and it lowers the abuse of people. That means you can go to the government, you can go to the police and say, this happened to me, right? Because you're technically working, you're doing something. There should be legal recourse, thank you, Testy, for people who are working in this profession. And like I said, it is a profession. There is a transaction. You are allowed, you have autonomy over your body. Slavery, you had no autonomy over who you were. If we have proper government intervention, we can ensure at least bring down some of the potential of people being abused or being sold into sexual stuff as soon as they're 16. I'm just saying there are ways to combat this. I just think the comparison to slavery, honestly, I don't want to use the R word anymore, but it's R worded. If you know, you know. I'm trying to work on that. And I told Wick I won't use any slurs on here, but I just think it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
I
don't know.
disagree. I think it makes perfect sense. And the reason why it makes sense, okay, it's an example of a very old use of labor. It's a very old form of labor, one that has existed for thousands of years, okay? It is every bit as old as prostitution. So you can't say
But it's
it's
not a
simply like
transaction. There's no
it is.
transaction between.
That's
What is
not
the
okay.
transaction between the slave and the
I've already
master?
Okay,
explained to you. There have been
we do have to go one at a time. This is getting way more heated than I planned. Like this is gonna be a costume. We got
What's
a
the
sexy nun, a
transaction?
sexy maid,
I
a
also
sexy
feel
fairy,
like
a sexy wizard. Right? But
at
go
the end of
ahead.
the day, a prostitute gets to go home. At the end of the day, a slave does not get to go home.
They have no autonomy over who they are. A
No, but at the
prostitute
end of
still
the
has
day,
autonomy.
that's
But we
not.
gotta let Fairy Queen get out her point uninterrupted. So we're gonna give it to Fairy Queen. And super chats first. Okay, gang. $10 from Per Thompson. Are we talking about slavery where a human is owned or a transactional setup where you can decide to complete the transaction on both sides? Prostitution or surrogacy are the same basic thing. We have $2 from Portland is Burning. Check Discord DMs for important Dorito info. There is the black bag. He DM'd me it. We do
Do
have
they
the
have
black
sweet
bag.
chili heat?
Yeah, we have it in
It's delicious,
Portland.
isn't it?
Yeah, well,
I love
Portland
sweet
can
chili.
tell you. And another new account for $5. Wick, you gonna make Parallax hold that L for Dragon Age after yelling at you that last time? Maybe. But okay, Fairy Queen, Floor's yours. Go ahead.
Sure. So the reason, again, and I will repeat what I said beforehand, okay? Prostitution, you are receiving money in exchange for allowing a stranger to use your genitals to pleasure themselves, okay? It is for the pleasure of sex is what you are receiving, the money in exchange for. When you are working as a surrogate, okay, you are receiving money in exchange for giving the parents, okay, the pleasure of a child that is biologically related to them. You are basically being paid, okay, to use your you are selling the use of your reproductive areas and organs to someone else, okay? That is true for both surrogacy and it's true for prostitution. It's just that the reason why you're selling it happens to be different between these two. One of them happens to be for reproduction pure all, and the other one happens to be just to have sex. So that's why the comparison, okay? And the difference is that we say that we're more okay with surrogacy because most of the time when we think of surrogacy, we think of parents who are struggling with fertility issues. We think of parents who have really wanted to have kids for a very, very long time, okay? This is who we're thinking about. And I'm sure some of you probably even know people like that, okay? And I've even known people like that who have really struggled to have kids and how sad that can be. But I want you to think about her, okay? The surrogate, okay? Think about like what it would feel like to be her, okay? What would it feel like say that you're okay with it and you think, oh, it's going to be just fine because you've had a baby before. You think you're going to be just fine with it. And then 9 months later, okay, you're bought into a contract and you have to give this baby who technically is not your baby, but certainly feels like your baby, has been inside of your womb for 9 months.
It's
You've
not your
gone to the
baby.
doctor's meetings. You've been feeding this baby. You may have even fantasized about giving this baby a name. But now you have to give this baby up and there's nothing that you can do. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I can't think of anything
Five
potentially
euros.
more cruel, all right, than to like go to a woman and to take her crying and weeping, her infant child away from her to give to somebody else.
It's not her
I think
child.
that is
She only
the
carried
cruelest
the baby,
thing.
but it's not her child.
€5.
And that's
€5
Oh, sorry.
from
Quick.
Brittany Simon. Trafficked people are modern-day slaves with no rights and are not able to go home. Sex workers are people with jobs, and we pay taxes. Thank you for the €5.
Does she agree?
Yeah, I
It
agree with
appears
that.
she would
I
agree
agree
with
with
legal. Oh, sorry.
You're good. I agree with that. People who are trafficked, of course, they don't get to go home at the end of the day. Like if you're being trafficked, like you're literally a slave, like 100%. But if you're just doing sex work, like if you're just like a prostitute on the side of the road, you're not being trafficked. You can't like. I think if you compared trafficking maybe, but prostitution in and of itself, I don't think is a good comparison.
No, I mean, it is exactly the comparison because it's literally the only difference between why you are selling the use of your genitals is because of the function for the
That's an important
provider.
difference.
Can
It's
I
a very
ask
important difference, though.
A factual question here. I have a factual question
right.
because I don't know the answer, and maybe one of you do. So Fairy Queen paints a picture of a surrogate
Easy
mother
focus.
who decides that they want to keep the baby, but they're not allowed to keep the baby. How often does that actually happen in practice? Because surrogacy is legal, so we should have stats on this, right?
That should be less than 1%. That's like, come on. And that's not even their baby, I'm just gonna say, but that's gotta be less than 1%.
I feel like I totally understand like having an emotional reaction. Like you went through all of that. It totally is understandable why you would have an emotional like, holy fuck, that's my child. I want my child. Like it makes sense. But at the end of the day, it's not your kid, and you signed up for that.
Yeah, but I think that that's cruel. I think that people should
But
not
like
be.
even having an emotional reaction in the moment doesn't mean like maybe 3 months from now they're grateful that they don't have a child because they didn't want that child.
I'm saying that is the kind of position, that is the kind of choice that is so cruel and such a honestly cruel and selfish choice to ask somebody to make. You don't ask people, you don't put people in that position. You don't ask people to put themselves in a position where they would ever have to feel like they would have to make that choice. And for you to go to somebody and to tell them that you should make this choice and listen, it's fine because I'm just going to pay you in the end anyway, it treats them like garbage. I'm sorry, it just does.
But they're willing participants. So if they want to, so if it was like, oh, you could just like refer yourself and you're like basically saying, hey, I would like to do this for you, you'd still have a problem with that.
Yeah,
I don't
and I
understand.
was just like, I would still. Yes, because it degrades them. It treats. I find it to be incredibly degrading, and I don't find the idea that because you willingly consented to do something, that therefore means that it should be legal because simply because you have two people that are consenting. Okay, I think that we could think of a lot of situations of things that two people could consent to, both of them, that we wouldn't want to necessarily be legal in society. Prostitution is an example of a thing like
I
of a
think
thing like that.
you're making it more you're making it seem more sinister, like I think I said this before, than it actually is. And like I said, the cases that you were talking about are probably like 1% of cases. Like I can't even reference any cases unless you could, of somebody having a freak out and be like, this is my baby now. That genetic material does not belong to them. They may have carried this child, but it is not their child. It just is not their child.
I think that, like, to put it that way, and I think that with all due respect, I think that that's like extraordinarily cruel to like many of these women's actual like lived experiences. I think it's easy to sit back and to say that's not your baby, it's not really yours, it's not really your genetic material. You know, you got paid for it.
I have a question.
It's easy to feel like that when it's.
I have a question. So you're saying that women shouldn't do surrogacy because at the end of the day it's emotionally taxing and it's like something that affects you for the rest of your life and something that you don't believe that people should live with. So with that same argument, should we be banning abortion because abortion is emotionally taxing and that something like most women who go into abortion think that abortion is like, okay, everything's gonna be fine, I'm just gonna have an abortion, it's okay. Most women who come out of having an abortion feel fucking awful. They feel terrible. They feel like they murdered their child. So with that same argument that you're using for surrogacy, would you not apply that to abortion?
So what I would say is like the difference I think between surrogacy and between abortion is that for me, my take on abortion is that I am pro-choice up until
I just wanted to play Wizards.
I'm not sure like what week it is. I think it's
wanted
the third or fourth week. I'm not sure like when actual consciousness is reached. But my take is that like, but
I think it's like whatever. Keep going. Yeah, I think it's like 12 or something. I think it's like 12 weeks or something.
It's like 12 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, I say whenever.
Well, I don't say whenever. I say like up until like when it reaches consciousness and when it's a conscious agent, when it's a person, okay, then I'm not in support of it because now we're talking about not just a fetus or an embryo. We're talking about like a person now.
I just want to remind everyone that the reason that this conversation started is because I brought up boob sliders and we have moved from boob sliders.
Love tits.
To hear $10 from Per Thompson to say this degrading argument takes agency away from women who might want to do this. I think that Fair Queen's already bit that bullet though and said yes, she's fine with that in that case. But I don't mean to interrupt. Continue on, please.
Oh, sure. So that's the first thing. So no, I'm not for abortion in all cases, right? But the reason why that would be different, right, Julie, is because I don't think that like the embryo is a person yet. If you choose to do that, you're choosing to do that against yourself, right? You're not involving another person or asking another person to hurt themselves or to be hurt, right? Like, I think if you want to, and I actually think there is like a whole conversation we could have also about, is self-harm justified? Like, is it immoral for you to hurt yourself? I think it is. And but I'd be curious, like to sort of walk through the philosophical reason of why that is.
To what cause? Like, for example, I can think of plenty of reasons where I think putting yourself in harm's way, because surrogacy doesn't necessarily harm you, right? There are cases where it puts you at further risk, right? But it might not necessarily harm you. You act as if there's a 100% thing, and it's not.
Well, no,
let me finish my point. Let me finish my point, and then you can respond. But this is why I think that it's comparable, and it's not a one-to-one, obviously, as asking a soldier to go out and fight for his country. They're at extreme risk. They could suffer like lifelong emotional damage that degrades them entirely. They could suffer a whole host of issues, right? But I think it's okay to ask people voluntarily to sign up for and do that. Now, I think that there's ways you can exploit those people, and those are wrong, but the concept of a soldier is not in and of itself a bad thing. And nor is it putting yourself in harm's way for a good cause to help others isn't necessarily immoral, and in fact, might be the most moral thing you can do. But please respond, and I want to hear from everyone else. Go ahead.
Sure. Let me just tweak your example, okay? I don't think the example is like the soldier that goes off to war to risk his life in order to bring back good things. I think that a way to actually make it more accurate would be like a soldier that is sent off to war and then kidnaps someone from a foreign country, okay? And then brings the hostage back to the United States as a worker to then be used in the United States, okay? Like you're asking to take. I mean, actually, maybe that isn't like a good. What if it was more like?
Yeah, like
this?
I'm not following you, but go
What
ahead.
if maybe that isn't quite the best analogy? Actually, wait.
Okay, Wick W.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
enchanting tonight with my spells.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I know other people. Finish your thought, and I want to hear other people talk. Go ahead.
Well, I think that it's different. Like when you're asking to take away something, your labor. I think that like there's a difference between like asking to like give up your labor or for you to give up your life as opposed to taking somebody's child away from them. Is like I don't think that's quite the same. And I think what I'm trying to illustrate here and what I'm afraid of really like with all of this talk about surrogacy being work, sex work being work, talking about like all of this stuff, you realize that like the work is to create a product and the product is a person, okay? Like the consequence of like talking about it in this way is that you've commodified people. You've now turned like a person into a thing to be bought and to be sold and to be paid for in order to bring here, okay? Which is the reason like why, part of the reason why I think the slavery like issue is not something that just to be tossed away. Do you think that that's a problem? Do you think if I could go up to a machine, okay, and I bought eggs and I bought sperm and I could just put it into the machine and then 9 months later I could get whatever kind of baby I want as long as I put in the right buttons. Do you think there's a problem with that?
Not necessarily.
Well, but I do
I
see
think
that's
there is an issue with it. I think you're bringing someone into this world. You're giving them a chance for life. I don't feel like that's a bad thing.
$10 from Gelatinous Rube. I'm sure everyone can agree your right to opt out of a contract should roughly equal the severity of its consequences. Shared custody for surrogate and donor, for instance. $5 more from Gelatinous Rube. Also, happy Halloween. My candy bag has room for one costumed performer. I'll go with you, Gelatinous Rube. Don't worry. Pondering politics for $10. What the hell is your costume, Wickles? What? Okay. A robe, a hat, and a wand. Please, Pondering, using your powers of deduction, right? Conjure up a possible answer to your question. What possibly could my costume be today? I don't know. Maybe you can tell us. I don't know. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Julie, if you're talking to us, we can't hear you.
No, sorry, I was talking to my chat. They're
Those
saying some
chatters.
crazy things about this topic. I don't even.
What are
Oh.
they saying? What's
are they-
Julie? I'm curious.
Well,
What are
okay,
Julie's...
someone typed, in the future, breeding will be done clinically like a kiosk or vending machine. I choose this type of pedigree, race, genetically altered DNA. Don't people literally already do that with sperm banks?
Yeah, you basically
Well,
pick
Fairy
out.
Queen's
Yeah, they
against
do.
sperm banks.
Looking for it.
That was her
Yes, they
thing.
Oh,
do.
yeah, that's the
Same
She's
same thing.
against in vitro fertilization.
Yeah, you do that as well. You can literally pick if you're gonna have
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pick shit. I don't even know what I was gonna say, but you get the idea.
Why am
That makes me feel kind of queasy, but like I don't like because like but because I don't think that like it's on a person up until like the roughly the 12th week, like it's not like I don't know, there's something about it that makes me feel kind of queasy though. Like the idea of like having like just a
Gives
host
you
of
the ick?
embryos.
I mean,
It does, honestly. Like you're
Okay, why
picking
not?
through, a group of like
Do you think you should be allowed to pick your
kids.
kids' genetics, or like
I think so.
like, you just
Don't
have to
you do
let
that
them
with
happen?
partners? Don't we do that with
Uh,
partners? We're selective about who we choose because we
Yeah.
want to have like our kids with them. Aren't we doing that on a daily
Are we
basis?
about to get
anyways?
into eugenics? What is happening?
Yes,
right
we
now?
are.
I'm
Oh
saying, you know,
Jesus. Eugenics
just
on
saying.
Halloween.
why can't we? We select for our partners every day, right? If I want to date a guy who's, I don't know, 6'6", brown eyes, I'm selecting for a certain thing, and I know my kids might look a certain way. Just saying.
I mean, let me put it to you this way, okay? Would you guys would it really be in sickness and in health? Suppose like you were with this hot guy, okay? But then like half his face got melted off like in a car crash. Would you still want to be with him?
If I loved him,
course,
yeah,
yeah.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
loved his
husband.
personality, I don't give a fuck what he looks like. It's just I like to pick the hot dude because I'm attracted to the hot dude, and then hopefully it turns out he's nice.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
you know-
that's how most people work, right? The
Yeah.
first
I
thing
mean,
you notice about someone, Are they hot physically? I don't
Yeah.
like get to know them till later, right? Like, but when I'm
You think,
initially,
would I put my dick in them? And then you find out
indeed, yes,
I would put my dick in
exactly.
them. They're really
Yes.
cool.
Yes,
It is possible.
there
I
are layers here. Okay, you have to
I-
meet several criteria, an order of operations, if you will. Right, but
I don't know.
Go ahead, Fairy Queen.
I'm one of like a couple of minds here though. Like, because on the one hand, I want my kids to be healthy, and like what Mooncake said is true. Like this is part of why we choose the partners that we do. It's because we want our kids to be tall and happy and healthy and to be attractive people. Of course, all that's true. At the same time, though, it kind of makes me uncomfortable. Like I don't like the idea of like, look, if I had a kid, and I looked at my kid, I would love you any less if you had Down syndrome, or I would want you to be here any
But
less. If you had,
surely,
like, sort of-
if you
I don't think
if
it's
you
about
could,
loving
hold on,
any
hold on,
less.
hold on.
I don't think it's about loving any less. It's just harder. It's harder to deal with.
Well, I want to. Okay, Fairy Queen, answer me this directly.
you
You
know what I'm
have-
saying, though, right? Like,
You still love them just the same, but it's just it's harder to deal with. It's a
You
different
have-
lifestyle. It's something you have to adjust to that like is different than adjusting to just like a regular kid. Like
Okay, I think that like if you had a choice and you with no side effects, there's nothing that would go wrong, right? And just run with a hypothetical, and you could take a pill, okay? And you could put this pill in the water, and everyone would drink the water, right? Like fluoride, okay?
okay,
This pill would make sure that no baby is ever born with autism or Down syndrome. Do you put the pill in the water?
I don't know. I
wait, if we put the pill in the water, are they born with those things?
No, they're not.
No,
No
they're
one
not.
ever. It
Oh,
cures
I'm putting
autism.
the pill. I'm putting the pill in the water. I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck.
No more autists.
Why would I not put the pill in the water?
Well, I think. Oh,
Why
wait,
would I not?
You say people with
Because-
autism are in there too?
I mean, not the ones who are currently alive, but no baby ever
Okay,
is going to be born.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, what are you guys thinking?
The
I'm
ones
asking.
that are
No,
currently-
what it
oh my
does is it
God.
makes sure that any
Oh my
any
God.
baby is born without Down syndrome.
Oh,
and
any
without-
baby? Oh, I thought
Yes.
it was my own baby.
Well, that's another
Um,
question too. Like, would you do it with your own baby?
I mean, I feel like I would still put the pill in the water. I'm still putting the pill.
Yeah, because here's the
What
thing.
the
I think I'd still do it. Like, they're gonna face challenges that I think are unfortunate, and if I could stop the like future generations from facing certain challenges, then yeah, of course. But that doesn't speak ill to anybody who might have like autism.
We're gonna
or
lose a
Down
lot of
syndrome.
artists. We're never gonna have a Beethoven again, or Michelangelo, or whoever the fuck. We're never gonna have an artist like that again because we got rid of autism. However,
That's true.
now, well, now I'm not sure. Maybe I. Oh shit. Okay, let me think.
Wick, I would not put the pill in the water.
Would you take it yourself if you had a baby and it discovered that that baby had a severe autism? I'm not talking cute autism
Oh,
that
severe.
online, but I'm talking
Wait,
like
does the-
the higher levels of autism. Would
Does
you
the
take that
pill?
and
Does
it
the
cures
pill
you?
get rid of acute autism, or does it get rid of severe
all
autism?
all of it?
Oh, okay. So I'm not doing the pill, but if it's severe, like with my own child,
Yes.
then I think that's a different story. 100%.
Yeah. It has severe autism.
If
You
they
take that
need like
pill.
lifelong, like life term, like care, like where I literally have to become a nurse to take care of them, I can't do that. I can't even take care of myself. No chance.
I'm putting it in the water. So
Putting it in the water. So water and taking it yourself. We have taking it yourself for Julie, but she's not sure about the water. And then we have Fairy Queen who hasn't answered either question. And I'm very curious.
I don't really know because I don't know. I mean, it would only prevent, like any like kids like being born with autism or like with Down syndrome.
It cures
Like
them, to be clear. It doesn't prevent autists from being born. If they have autism, they no longer have autism, but they're still born and they're healthy. Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess maybe I probably would take it, but I don't know. I sort of feel weird about it though because I don't like the idea, of evaluating, how like worthwhile someone's life is, and weighing it against.
I don't think it's not. I don't think it's that your
something
life
icky
isn't
about
worthwhile.
it.
It just it listen, I'll say this. I don't care. It just
Ow.
makes things difficult. When
Yeah.
you have like severe
In
disabilities
that
and things like this,
case-
it makes things difficult.
In that case,
That's just the
hold
fact
on,
of the matter.
Julie, let me follow up on that. Julie,
Yeah.
so you're saying you're doing it because if people have these conditions, it makes their lives harder, makes their lives more difficult.
It makes
and that's-
everyone's lives harder
yes.
around them as well.
So, given that that's the state of affairs, would you take one to make, again, in this hypothetical world, we can tell the sexuality of a kid when they're in the womb, and there's a gay gene, and we find the gay gene. Would you take a pill to make your kid no longer gay?
I would prefer to live in a society that was just chill with gay people.
Sure, but we don't.
Yeah.
But we don't. Tough.
We live
Ah.
in today's world.
I wouldn't
Okay.
change. I don't.
No? So no from
So-
Mooncake?
But like, there's a difference between being
But
gay
it would
and
make
like
it
being
harder.
in a
It'd make
fucking.
their life harder.
But hold on.
wouldn't it?
But hold on. There's a
No.
difference between. Hold on. There's a difference
Sexual
between
stuff.
being
I don't
gay.
know.
You can still take care of yourself. Someone who's like in a fucking wheelchair and can't wipe their own ass
Yeah.
because they're so disabled. Like these are two totally different things. Like they have to be so gay that they're in a wheelchair.
How gay is that? What is the
I don't know,
wheelchair
super
level of
fucking
gay?
gay.
Oh God! Oh God! I know
Hard.
the meme. Oh my
Cut me off.
God!
$20 for Lawson Harrison. Imagine being a
Cut me
person with a disability and finding out that your parent decided not to prevent it.
I mean, I would say something
Mm.
like for example, like butterfly skin, where your skin literally melts off. Like you know your child has that gene and they're gonna have it. Like you're a monster for doing that to them. You're a monster. Like that's not an enjoyable. That is a horrific life to live. Like your skin literally fucking melts off. Like everything you do is painful. You live a life of pain and you can't live past like 30 if you're lucky. Why would you do that to someone?
Yeah, I think there's hard choices that we all have to make. And I think if it's for the betterment of society, so I think, like I said, like born with less challenges, I think that's the best decision for society.
Really? and that's so again, given the society we have, what about gay people?
Yeah, but you can't compare being gay to having a
Yeah,
a
again, being
disability.
gay is not the
I
same
don't-
as
I
like
don't-
being in a wheelchair.
It's like, because that's just like sexual desire, right? Even though it
I'm
might
saying
make
in
your
a
life
wheelchair,
higher.
Mm,
Yeah, it's like you can still live your life, get married, do great things, and be like a gay person.
you can still.
right?
Wait, I won't say that. Never mind. Don't listen to me.
No, I'm very curious what you had to say, Julie. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say
It's a
something. I
safe
feel like
place
this is like
here.
this is mean. So don't clip me. I
No
said that.
clips, gang. No clips.
Okay.
You already said it though, so let's
Fuck.
hear it.
Okay, this is the most horrific thing to come out of my mouth, but like you can still contribute to society. Just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't contribute. If you're like fully disabled where someone has to like take care of you're not contributing to society.
Oh,
Okay, that's an interesting take. So that's
Sorry,
why you
I'm
would
so
do it.
sorry.
Oh, that's a take, gang. No clips, gang. No clips. Let's
No clips. I'll be really
It's
mad at you.
Halloween.
Don't
Where you,
clip.
I'm absolving you all. She's a nun. God has absolved her of her sins. Okay.
Exactly. I never said anything wrong.
What are we doing here again? You stun locked me, Julie. You stun locked me.
I'm really good at the A. I'm really good at saying insane shit. So
Fair enough. I thought Fairy Queen was going to be the hottest of the takes tonight, but no siree. I think here's my thoughts on this, right? Because it's figuring out where our lines are. I think we could all agree that if it was debilitating illnesses and we could snap our fingers, take a pill, wave a wand, that'd be fine. But it gets a little more dicey when we do things like, if we had the ability by science to choose to have a character creation screen for our children, right? Where we could choose their height, their weight, their body type, their eye color, their skin color. Would that be a better world, a worse world, or a neutral world? What do we think?
I don't know. People will start going crazy with those machines. I don't know.
They would. Yes.
They would. And then what if they create an army of just like one specific race to do bad things? I don't know. That's what you have
One
to worry
specific
about.
race to do bad things.
It's like, sorry, just like, you know what I mean? Like they create a specific. I didn't name any races. Just saying, but they use one, and then they do bad things. That group.
Okay.
Please do.
Wow. If I get
Never mind.
banned for this stream of all the fucking streams I've ever done, I'm gonna be very angry. Okay. How about this though? How about this? Let's go back to the debilitating diseases. Okay. We've all agreed, and correct me if I'm wrong, we've all agreed that take a pill, right? Take a pill, cure those diseases. Correct? Am I wrong? Everyone, nod your head, Julie, if you want.
Wait, sorry, what's happening?
I'm just establishing. We've all agreed that if it's a debilitating disease that affects the health and well-being to a severe degree, that we would all take the pill. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%.
Then the question becomes: those mothers who do not choose the pill, should they face legal repercussions for not doing so?
I think
when they had the ability to do so. So the pill's free. The pill's provided by the government. There's no excuse.
This is again going to be offensive. The repercussion is they have to deal with what they've done. They had that child. They have to take care of that child for the rest of their life. That's a repercussion.
Yeah.
They don't need a legal repercussion.
They might throw them like in the garbage. That's what we'd have to worry about. But yeah, they should get in trouble. Like, what are you doing?
I don't think they should get in trouble. I just think they have to deal with it. Like, I don't think they should get like government assistance. Like, you made that choice. That's fine. You can make that choice.
Okay,
if you
so
want
in
to.
that case, Julie, then if they had a pill that could change their child to have that disease, would you give punishment if they took that pill?
You can do that, but you're probably sick in the head, and you have to deal with judgment.
So would you punish a parent who did that?
Legally, would I punish a parent for changing their
to taking the extreme autism pill?
Extreme autism, but like that's also the thing. Like, would you punish a parent for like changing their child's like eye color? Like, would you punish a parent for changing their child?
No, we're not talking about eye color. We're talking about
no, but it leads into that. If I agree to this, it agrees to other things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Not necessarily.
Like, I think you get the child that you get.
A puppy. What's the puppy's name? I'm sorry, we got.
It's Balto. He's so bad. I'm sorry. I know this is like random.
No,
okay.
Puppies are great. I love puppies.
You're just looking for snacks. No, there's no snacks up here. There's no snacks.
I would. I think if I found out that a mother purposely took the extreme autism pill, I think that mother should be punished with jail time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little like, why would you do that? Like something, I almost think that it's like, not even a punishment, but like you need like psychiatric help because why would you do that to another person?
Well, we already punish like if a mother just snorts tons of cocaine, right, while they're pregnant. Yeah. I think those mothers should receive jail time too, or some form of punishment.
I mean, you're putting another life in danger, but at the end of the day, it's also like an underlying issue. Like you actually need help. Like that person needs help.
Well, there's some people who think that, like, autism, extreme autism, is, like, part of them. Well, the deaf community, that's a good example. The deaf community will look askance at medical technology that cures their deafness. There are things that deaf people can do to no longer be deaf anymore. However, the deaf community considers those changes to be eugenics, and they are against them. They identify with being deaf. I think
that the way that I would understand it is you should be able to live in a society where you don't need to do those things.
A deaf parent wants their kid to have the same experiences that they have, to be able to identify with their kid. So they take a pill to make their child deaf.
Like, to make them deaf?
Yes.
I feel like, but that's the thing. If you're intentionally making that's the thing. If you're making life if you're intentionally making life harder for another person, that's an issue. You shouldn't be intentionally making life harder for anyone else but yourself, and even then, it's an issue.
Thoughts, Fairy Queen?
I don't know. I think that if we're going to go with the pill thing, then yes, if you could take this pill, but you choose not to take this pill, just because of reasons, then yeah, I think that you probably should get in trouble for that. But I guess my question to you, and like, I know that like you said, like we're not talking about eye color, we're not talking about height, we're not talking about we're just talking about illnesses, right? We're talking about diseases, right? And sure,
Disabilities, yes.
and we're talking about a disability, right? But as you mentioned with the deaf community, the further out you go, right, you're going to get to a point, right, where there's going to be some gray area. Like, forget about, like, I mean, the deaf
Well,
community
do you think
is
the
like
deaf community is a gray area?
the deaf community could be potentially. I mean,
Is
like,
it to you?
no, I don't think that, like, I think that like if you like take a pill to like on purpose to like make your kid deaf, I think that you're doing something wrong. You should probably go to jail, right? Like,
Okay,
that's
so we
probably what,
agree on that. So even a deaf
yes.
child or a deaf parent whose the mom's deaf, the dad's deaf, they take a test, they find out that their child's going to be born with able to hearing. They think to themselves, oh man, we don't know how to handle that. We don't know how to deal with that, but we do know how to deal with a deaf child, and we would like our child to be like us, to look like us, right? Everyone wants their child to look like them. Everyone wants their child to share some of their qualities, right? So they decide, I take the deafness pill. And you think that they should be punished for that?
For taking the deafness pill, like if it causes
Yeah,
deafness,
to cause
then
their children
yes,
who would
yes, if
otherwise
it
not be
caused,
born deaf to be born
yes,
deaf.
I think that they should be punished, like if they do that specifically to make their child deaf. But what I'm also saying, right, like even though obviously that would be horrible, the real life situation, okay, where a lot of these families, like where it does feel strange, where there gets to a point where asking and trying to fix something that's wrong with you begins to feel more like a preference than it does like something that you actually need. So like if I have a family, for instance, that's like incredibly tall, let's say, they're all huge, they're all like 6'5", enormous, okay? And they find out through genetic testing that like one of the embryos is going to be a kid that's 5'5". He will never be taller than 5'5". Is there something wrong with them choosing not to implant that embryo over the 6-foot Goliath embryo? Like, I don't know. Like, do you see what I'm talking about? Like it's going to get to a point like where like choosing out some of these preferences where it's going to start to feel a little bit ickier than just like because the concern is no longer going to be just about like trying to like make your child as healthy as they possibly can be. It's going to be pushed. It's going to push as I mean, Mooncake mentioned it earlier, right? I mean, racism like is a potential problem, right? Like preferentially like only having children of a certain race. That's a potential issue. Potentially only having children of a certain sex. That's happened, right? And you know, like what the consequences of like what would happen to the population if you only have boys or if
Like
you only
China.
have girls. Yeah.
Yeah. They're facing
I
it.
mean,
They're going through it.
yeah, I mean, this could have like really, really, really negative consequences. Like it's with some pretty scary potential side effects. So I don't know. I feel even though like obviously I want to live in a world where kids are healthy, where they aren't sick and like where they don't have to live with chronic illnesses, I also am scary and nervous at the idea of trying to perfect the human genome, right? So
No, I agree that there are issues, right, that should be addressed. But I think that the fear to hold back in fear of those issues might be a bigger sin. Think of the kid who was born. Let's even use a height example. Some 5'4" dude. A 5'4" dude's life is fundamentally different in experience than a 6-foot dude's life. They live very different lived experiences, right? And if you, as a child, found out that your mother and father could have made you a 6-foot child and decided not to, damn, I don't know.
I never forgive them.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it would.
right?
Yeah, I think it would build up a lot of resentment.
Yeah, it'd be like, screw you.
I don't think you should be able to like change people. Like I think you like your kid is your kid. However, if you decide to terminate it, like you decide to have an abortion because your child's gonna have a debilitating disease or whatever the fuck, I like that. I mean, isn't it Sweden? They literally can if they find out their child has like
Down syndrome,
they just abort them. I don't have an issue with that at all.
Really? You don't have? Hold on.
I think it's how severe. I think to consider how severe it can be. If it's really going to impact a child's life, I think you have to think about, you have to outweigh the options there. Is it worth it giving birth to someone who may have a worse experience on this planet than if you just never had them in the first place?
$5 from the Trib1 to say our issues come from reactions to our differences. A society where we were all the same would make a more harmonious society. Would that be better or easier?
Sorry, I totally missed it. What happened?
good.
What?
He's saying our issues, many of our societal issues, come from differences. If we could make those differences disappear and be all the same, it would make a more harmonious society. Would that be better?
I think even with no differences, we still have problems. People love to look for problems. People love to make issues out of nothing.
Yeah. Japan is already having an issue, and they're like, they barely allow people to immigrate there. And they're
Yeah,
having an issue with just their own
I
population.
think it might minusculely make things a little bit easier, minuscule. But at the end of the day, there's still gonna be issues. At the end of the day.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. It's a hard question. Man, look, I had a list of topics that were fun, that were engaging, that were like light, but we have chosen some of the heaviest conversations we've had in a minute here on Wick TV, gang.
This wasn't incest.
Oh God!
Don't even start. No,
Okay,
we're gonna
sorry.
move on.
No.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move
Okay.
on. Okay, before we get to that question, the IQ, if you will. We are kind of running a little late on time, and I want to give each of you lovely ladies a chance to tell people who you are, where they can find you, all these things, right? Please tell people who you are and give some closing thoughts on all the topics. Gelatinous Rube says, Wick, don't you dare stop streaming before you answer the boob slider question. What boob slider question did you ask? Did I miss a super chat? Hold on. I don't see a question on boob sliders. Sorry. Okay, let's start with Julie, and then we'll end with Mooncake. Julie, final closing thoughts.
I'm Julie. You can find me Sadkitcat, SADKITCAT, like basically everywhere online. I stream, I hang out, I chill, I talk about dicks, talk about politics, everything in between. That's about it.
Check her out, gang. She's a nun. She's gonna cure you of your cringe. Okay.
We're gonna get baptized tonight. Okay,
Cringe
tune in.
confessionals all night. Non-Fon 420. Thank you for the raid of 6 people. You came in just the right time. We're about to end, but thanks for being with us. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate you, Julie. We should hang out more often. It was really fun.
No, we're having league nights. Okay, we're doing custom
Let me know.
ARAMs 5v5.
Let me know.
TFT.
Yeah.
TFT.
We'll
I'm so bad at TFT. I don't have the brain work for it. I'm literally terrible at League too. No, I think Saturday is gonna be a League night, so I'll message you for
please do.
League on Saturday. Okay,
Very
100%.
Queen. Thoughts?
Guys, you can find me at It's Me Fairy Queen and at It Me Fairy Queen. And I will drop my Twitter here in the chat. Please give me a follow. Thank you very much.
Check her out, gang. Links to all of these people are in my YouTube description as well, if you'd like to find it there. Really appreciate you. Give her a follow. She has some lovely Fairy Queen wings on. Check her out. Mooncake?
Okay.
Been a while for you too, so yeah.
I
Go
know,
ahead.
I'm like always bad at this. Yeah, I'm Mooncake. You can find me on Twitch. That's mainly it. I don't stream anywhere else. I'm usually building Legos. I'm actually building a new Lego. So if you're excited for that, we're doing the bonsai tree because I finished this one. And then I finished the Milky Way behind
Is
me.
that Legos?
So that was a lot of fun. Those are all Legos. This is Lego.
I thought it was an actual plant. Oh,
Yeah, see?
fair
I'm
enough.
telling you, it's so much fun.
Look,
So
to
yeah,
be
if you
honest,
want
I
to
wasn't
hang out,
looking at the plant, but go ahead, yeah.
if you want to hang out and just see Legos and like cool stuff like this, we also talk about nonsense. And I'm always happy to be on Wick's panel, so thank you again. And yeah, I appreciate it.
No, check her out, gang. Links are in the description on YouTube. $10, that's way. Society would collapse if we were all the same. We need people to do a variety of things to function. Imagine if everyone wanted to be a cook. Who delivers the products? Who engineers the buildings? But what if all the cooks happened to be 6'6" gigachads with stunning locks of flowing hair? Right? Would that
6'6" is too tall. I'm not interested. Count me out.
count you out? Oh,
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's too much for me. 6'6". No, wait. How tall are you?
Oh, I'm 5'11".
Okay, yeah, I'm 5'2", so 6'6" is too
Okay.
much for me. 6 for you, that makes sense.
Yeah,
enough.
6'6" is like okay.
Fair enough. Okay, gang. Let's see. A lot of people rated me today. Who am I rating? Or are you any of you? Are any
I'm
of you
live.
going to?
Oh, I'm gonna start streaming soon. But I think Julie said she's live. But I'm gonna start
Yes,
streaming
we'll
soon.
stream. We'll raid to Sad Kit Kat. So raid.
Let's get ready. We're gonna have debates. Everyone get in chat. I'm about to scream at you about things I don't understand.
Julie made the hottest take of the evening.
What was
If
my
you
hot
don't
take?
contribute to society, you shouldn't be born. Give her a follow, gang.
Agree.
We're gonna raid out. Let her know.
Because
We'll
men
let her
don't
know
deserve
this
rights.
Is
Double agree. Holy shit. Write that down.
Raid, and I'll see you guys later. Happy Halloween. I hope everyone has a safe holiday. Bye-bye.
Be safe, guys.